a long time since I taught all of you. So good to see you again. Tonight's your final lesson.
I wanted to do something different for starters. I was like heavily into the creature feature kind of thing. My last three films all had big makeup effects and all that kind of stuff. And I was just, I needed to do something a little bit different. Like I'm not the most original guy around. So yeah, I mean, I went to Battle Royale as a reference. It's one of my favorite films, but I thought it was, you know, I didn't want to shake it up too much. I love the movie too much. I respect it too much. But I thought there was something that we could do a little bit differently. And I thought, you know, I've ripped off Saw and other movies of mine before. And I just feel like, you know, it's always such a wasted opportunity. It's always, you know, strangers wake up in a room and they have to kill each other. I thought it was just so much more demented if it was a friend or a family member. And I just thought that led to a lot of opportunity. So that's kind of where it came from. And yeah, David really, the writer, he kind of all structured these ideas and stuff into the story, and he pitched this concept, and yeah, that was that.
Is that something that kind of was you were aware of on set as actors and directing?
Well, I see it as, yeah, I mean, like, there's all these big problems in the world, but, you know, these woke millennials are, you know, they're going after the little things, you know, they're more concerned about being woke and, you know, like, they're happy to burn trees and burn rubber, like, to power their Priuses, you know, but as long as people see them eating vegetarian food at a restaurant and they can take photos of it on Instagram, they're happy with that, you know?
It was actually quite funny. The other day, I was doing an interview, and I was asked a similar sort of question about the whole sort of millennials and about being woke, and I was asked if I personally have something against teenagers or something. If it was important for me as Sean Cameron Michael, this actor, to make a statement about millennials or the younger generation. And I really sort of said something. I've got a 16-year-old niece, and she sort of keeps me on my toes. And I mean, I actually once did an interview. The two of us did an interview together, and she was like, "Uncle Sean, you're old. You're old. You must get with the times." But yeah, I mean, you know, to answer your question, I mean, Peterson for me, you know, I really just approached the character. You know, what is this guy's justification? You know, what makes him move? What makes him breathe? You know, what's his story? And so, for me, you know, what I had to go on was that, you know, obviously his son had died from a drug overdose, and his wife had subsequently, you know, committed suicide. And as Alastair and the guys, it's sort of, you know, in the script it says, you know, this guy hasn't seen sunlight for a long time. So he is a very sort of damaged, flawed character. And that's really where I sort of approached it, you know, how I approached the role. And obviously these are, you know, ex-school students of his, and he blames them. He blames them for his son's death. You know, they all in some way knew Caleb, were connected to Caleb, and Peterson is just looking for somebody to blame. And he figures out a plan to get them all together.
Obviously, you're supposed to have a background with these actors. Did you kind of get together with them and brainstorm a little bit to kind of create the kind of chemistry that you wanted to create with them when they suddenly discover who's on the camp with them as well?
I mean, for you know, the interesting thing is, I always I always tend to play these baddies and these psychopaths, and inevitably what's happened sort of a lot in my career, sort of over the past 20 years. I sound really old, but inevitably what will happen, I'll always play these characters, you know, who arrive in the scene. So there isn't a relationship with all the other established characters. So I'm always kind of the outsider in that sense. And I think for this particular movie, for Triggered, I think that was important. I think it was important that there wasn't, you know, yes, he was their school teacher maybe a couple of years ago, but he's a different person. He's in a different place.
What the hell are these?
Is this like laser tag?
They're timers.
We're in the middle of the woods with bombs strapped to our chests.
Get this thing off of me! What happens when these timers hit zero, huh?
He didn't tell you the rules.
What rules, Bobby?
It's kind of nice for me, you know, to arrive there and just sort of climb into the madness that was Peterson, and hopefully give him a couple of scares along the way.
Like I said, it goes down some really dark holes, no? And we get plenty of blood and go, but at the same time, I mean, despite being such a dark, serious subject, there's a lot of comedy and there's kind of lots of almost Arnold Schwarzenegger-esque one-liners, no? When you get all these kills and things, no?
I'd never done anything comedic before. I never even tried that. You know, so I think we got a little bit lucky with it. Like we knew it was going to be a fine line, but we also just we just swung for the fences, and if it just felt right on set, we did it, and we kept it. And if it felt wrong, we sat and we workshopped it for a little bit and figured out the blocking and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of lines that ended up on the floor that were just too over the top. It was just too cringy or too cheesy. Yeah. But it was, yeah, David, the writer, he gave us way more than what we needed. And we shot way more than what we needed. And it was easy to just carve that down in edit when things got a little bit too hectic. We always wanted to be like, we didn't want it to be corny. We didn't want it to be too serious, you know? We just wanted it to be a fun movie.
Uh-huh. And obviously this film plays a lot on the idea that we really don't know who is the bad guy in the film, no? We don't, obviously we know that Sean's up to something, but we know that he's up to something for a reason, no? One of these people or some of these people are obviously up to something. Did you come up with any tricks or any ways of kind of getting around the actors not knowing exactly what was going to happen towards the end? Like, I mean, I think it was Scream 2, for example, they didn't know the end of the script before the end, just to kind of to buff up the performances, no? Because nobody really knew what was going to happen. Did you do anything like that?
No, we just had really good young actors, hey, that winged it and nailed it. We try to cast people that were the characters so that we didn't have to delve too deep into it on set. We didn't have a lot of time to shoot. So we needed actors that just embraced these characters. And no special tricks.
So the more you kill, the more time you get.
He has something behind his back.
She gave this to me because I've got the least amount of time. I'm sorry.
We didn't want it to be like the typical suicide vest, you know, the little homemade wires and the ticker timers and stuff. We still wanted, we knew we were making a movie. We wanted it to be cool. Obviously within reason, the guy needed to have been able to make it at home. But yeah, we wanted it to have a cool aesthetic as well. Our big reference, have you seen Starship Troopers?
Yep, I just watched it just recently, yeah.
Yeah, so you know that little laser tag sequence there, you know, where Johnny Rico gets a guy's head blown off. Yeah. And they've got, they're wearing like laser tag outfits. So that was our big reference. And we sent a cosplayer, he's like a genius cosplayer designer in the States, and he came up with his own design based off that. Yeah, and then we shipped that down to South Africa. And it really wasn't built for like filming, you know, it was built for like cosplay kind of exhibitions and that kind of stuff. So the stuff wasn't durable. So we tried to toughen it up our side, adding in more insulation, wires, more fabric, some carbon stuff into it. And we just went with it again. We could like, well, this is going to be homemade. This is what it's going to look like. It's okay if it's a little bit rough around the edges. They were a nightmare to shoot with. They kept breaking. The batteries were flat. The lights would, just go on and off. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, you know, shooting in Johannesburg, in a forest, in the jungles, or in the woods, or whatever. I always call it. I think I steal this from Sir Anthony Hopkins when he always says it's an NAR moment, no acting required. You know, so I think, you know, when I walked onto set, we were in the woods, you know, our little golf cart on the way to set sort of got stuck in the mud. And then the minute I walked in a set, it started pouring with rain. So I think my entrance was a very muddy, slip, slidey entrance, which was supposed to be a pretty horrific, scary entrance. But that sort of broke the ice. But yeah, I mean, you know, for me, you know, for the few days that I was there, and certainly for the rest of the cast, being in that darkness, in the woods, being in that environment with, you know, the rain and all those sort of elements, it really just sort of helps you to, you know, feel the world and be in the world. So it becomes easier in that sense. But I'm sure for Alastair and the rest of the crew, I'm sure they were sufficiently challenged.
Someone said.
People are playing the game.
Why are you doing this? I can't even eat gluten. Trust me, I'm not going to be able to kill anyone.
If it comes down to your life or your friends, I don't know. I feel like you at least consider it, you know? I don't know how many noble people are out there.
I mean, that's what I love about it is the fact, you know, for an audience, you know, it's always that question of what would you do in this scenario? You know, if you were faced with a situation, what would you do? I mean, I was also asked that, you know, what would I have done if I was in that situation? And, you know, what I love about it is if you've only got 40 minutes, you've only got an hour, you've only got 2 hours left before you die, and you have to kill somebody else, what would you do? And this is you know, the big question for the audience, and the thing of, you know, would you kill somebody to save yourself, or to, and that's where you know, the darkness and the psychosis of certain people really come out in those, you know, fight or flight scenarios. Personally, I don't know if I'd be able to just, you know, kill somebody. I don't know. I'm probably too much of a wimp. I'll probably kill myself before I'm blown to pieces, or I don't know. But I love that, and that's, you know, that's what, you know, attracted me so much to the script. Is you know, and audiences love. I mean, I've also over the past, especially now during lockdown, I've been doing quite a bit of script writing as well, and what I've learned and what I understand is that audiences need some unanswered questions. You have to keep them on their toes. They have to keep guessing. There have to be some questions along the way, some things for them to figure out. And certainly the small little comedic elements every now and again. I mean, I'm obsessed with TV and film, and I love when something, especially, you know, a horror or thriller like this, doesn't take itself so bloody seriously. No. You know, so you have those little comedic moments so the audience can just breathe and then continue on the roller coaster ride.